What some people don't know is that you tried going photography full time at one point in time.
Yeah. Yeah. I made the leap. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in their careers, especially in tech, like everyone's got that thing. They're like, I wonder if I could do this full time. And I actually made the leap and I had it all set up. Like I rented a studio, like I had all the gear and I tried it for 6 months. I don't know if that's long enough, but it was long enough for me to realize it wasn't what I wanted to do. And it was because didn't realize there's a difference between photography as a service and photography as art.
Hmm.
And the way I had been enjoying photography was photography for art. And it took away all the creativity doing it as a service. I think for people that are trying new things out, you have to check in and see if this is really something you're enjoying. Because, before I began, it sounded like a good idea. But like after a year, I was like, if I were to pick UX versus doing this full time, what's more fulfilling? What feels more right to me?
Second act, lives beyond the job title.
She's a UX leader at YouTube, shaping the future of shorts creation and AI tools used by millions, if not billions of people. But she's what I call a slashy. You're a slash filmmaker, slash photographer, slash educator. Yeah, nothing to do with murder. You're building your own YouTube channel and you have a brand as well as the storyographist, right? So there's so much to unpack here.
I can.
Very excited to chat about this journey with you. CLO, welcome to the second act. So before we get into what you've built, I kind of understand who's CLO, who's the person behind all of this. I heard that there was a moment in 2014, something about a red umbrella. Tell us that story.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably like the crux of who I am. But as you said, I do a lot of things, but at the core of it, I would call myself a photographer outside of my professional life. But like, I think that became a bigger thing in 2014 when my photo that I took ended up on billboards all around the world. And it was just like such a huge opportunity. And just to have that kind of exposure was just really amazing. It was for Apple's first shot on iPhone ad campaign. So it was like, it's not big now, but it used to be like a big deal when it first came out for like I think it was for the iPhone 6 advertising campaign. So this photo that I took on like a super rainy day and I was just walking around. Honestly, it's embarrassing. It's a shoe selfie if you really to boil it down. But Apple found it on Instagram and then they wanted to use it for their ad campaign. So that
Wow.
was an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I think that was not just your first time you got featured. You were also talking about like NBA finals and about a ladybug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so from there, I ended up having a relationship with their ad agency. And so for their additional ad campaigns the following years, they came back to me and they asked, hey, do you have more photos for iPhone 6 Plus? And then we also want to feature videos. And so I happened to have this video that used their slow motion feature, which is something really new back then, and their micro features. So they used it. And that one aired in some crazy, like, had some crazy airtime. So during the NBA finals, I remember watching it. And then my friends and I were watching, and then the commercial played, and we were like, "Oh my god,
That's awesome. That's a huge validation. So you were obviously excited, but were those the kind of signals that you got that you were like, hey, maybe this could be something bigger for you?
yeah!" Because I thought, I mean, that wasn't the first time. Like I'd been doing photography for a while, So to have my work recognized and to be exposed like that, it did feel like validation. Like maybe I have some talent here. So that was really encouraging. And that's actually what encouraged me to maybe pursue photography a little bit more seriously.
The other thing I want to talk about was, you've also kind of pivoted sometimes and gone from behind the lens to in front of the lens. You have your own YouTube channel as
Yeah.
well, where you teach photography, right? You teach,
Yeah.
share your passion with other folks. So was that uncomfortable at that point in time to go to that
Yeah.
persona?
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I've had that channel for a while now. I don't know what motivated me to do it. I think I have always loved sharing the thing that I'm really into, the thing I'm really passionate about, and that was one way for me to share it. So that's why I started that channel. And I also I love teaching as well. So that's kind of another way to share that passion for photography and videography. So it was very uncomfortable to be in front of the camera. When you first start out, it's weird hearing your voice. I'm sure, like, as you're starting this podcast too, like, there's just kind of, you
Yeah.
cringe at yourself, but like, yeah, I've been doing it for so long now. Like, it's like nothing to me, but it was hard, especially people leave comments. And then if you don't get enough likes, it was a little bit of like, there's some ego to it, like that can crush your ego. But I was just really so much into the community of photography and just talking about it that like, it was more enjoyable than it was than the pain that sometimes I had from it.
Yeah, I think a number of creators that I've spoken to, like, they kind of go through some amount of like imposter syndrome, right? So somebody's like
Yeah.
really creative. You said sharing, you love sharing, but for someone who's creative and you're thinking, oh, who's going to listen to me? What would your message be, especially as also the YouTube design lead? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had that for sure. I'm like, who am I to be teaching iPhone videography? I didn't go to film school. Like, what do I know? There's so many people that are way more qualified than I am. But the way I framed it in my mind was that I am teaching as much as I know. I'm not trying to pretend to know things I don't. And I'm sure there are people that know less than me that would appreciate the way I delivered, not lessons, but the way I delivered the information on my videos. It was like very easy to grok and it wasn't using these super technical terms. So I thought I was providing value by approaching it from someone who was not necessarily, the like super expert, like film school nerd, but someone who's just like them, who just happened to know it.
I think that thing that you're doing around sharing, I feel that's such a powerful thing. I was reading this book called Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, where he talks about, how people need to do it because one, you also kind of learn yourself, right?
Yeah. I'm a huge, and I think for everyone, regardless of what your work is, it's really important to share it for many reasons. One, if, marketing yourself, obviously you need to share it. I always say it's not the best photographers that are noticed, it's the ones who market themselves the best. But also, like you said, you learn a lot from sharing your work. You can get critique, you can get feedback, you can start creating community. That's kind of what happened with me. I think it's really important to put your work out there.
So moving past it a little bit, like what some people don't know is that you tried going photography full time at one point in time.
Yeah. Yeah. I made the leap. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in their careers, especially in tech, like everyone's got that thing. They're like, I wonder if I could do this full time. And I actually made the leap. Well, okay. It was a secure leap because I was still doing freelance UX on the side, to build it up until I got clients and whatnot from the photography business. And I had it all set up. Like I rented a studio, like I had all the gear. That's probably the best part is getting all the gear, the lights, the cameras. And I tried it for 6 months. I don't know if that's long enough, but it was long enough for me to realize it wasn't what I wanted to do. And it was because didn't realize there's a difference between photography as a service and photography as art. And the way I had been enjoying photography was photography for art. And it took away all the creativity doing it as a service for a wedding, for portraits. And it's like you have to do it the way your client wants to do it. And sometimes that's not aligned with how you like with your vision, but you're getting paid for it. So you have to do it their way. And so that to me was not satisfying. And I'm glad I discovered that sooner rather than later so that I could quickly pivot back to what I was doing before and to really just keep photography as something as like to keep it as art for me so that I would continue enjoying it. Because at that point, I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying photography in that way.
So talk to me about photography as art and tell me what type of photography really resonates with you.
Yeah, I think it evolves. Right now, the type of photography I'm doing is kind of like film photography, and I'm veering more towards trying out street photography. But earlier in my career, and I think this is where a lot of photographers start, I was doing a lot of landscape photography. And that I think that's the most enjoyable part about photography as art is that it's your vision. You can take it whichever direction you want. You can explore new avenues and there's no one telling you that you can't do it that way. And so I think that's what's satisfying about it. That's where you can unleash your creativity and you're not bound by what does a client need.
So when you started off on the whole, like, hey, I think I want to make this full time, at that time, was your mindset more around like, okay, I'm going to try this for 1 year, or you were like all in, like, hey, this is it, this is the path.
Oh, so my situation, at that point, I had 2 kids and a mom to support. I was financially, I guess I had to be financially responsible. And so I thought to myself, if I am not making enough money in a year, then this isn't going to work out because I have to support my kids. By then I was already divorced, and then I had my mom to support.
Hmm.
But luckily, it didn't take that long. After 6 months, I was like, it's not about the money. It's about whether do I like this or not.
Yeah, totally. So you shared about your passion for teaching, right? And you do teach Stanford. So talk to me about what
Yeah.
motivates you. Yeah.
So I do still teach at Stanford. I teach an iPhone videography class. And in fact, I'm pitching a new class where it's about editing with AI. So stay tuned for that one, see if that gets approved. And then I was like, okay, photography is great. Another way to make money is to teach these courses and have an online class. And so I started doing that. So I know it sounds like I did so many things, but the way it worked was I tried photography as a business, didn't work out. I went back to UX design. And along the way, I thought maybe, I could transition into like doing this, like being this iPhone videography expert, and I'll sell these online courses. And maybe that's another avenue where, I can maybe quit my job and like this can become a full-time thing, entrepreneur and whatnot. And it was doing really well. And I was like, I think I said like, in a year, I mean, it's not a lot, but I could certainly see it growing.
Yeah.
In a year, I was able to make 100K. And I learned everything, about selling and teaching. So I took sales courses. I learned about like Facebook marketing, Facebook ads. I had a whole system, I had a drip campaign, like all of that. It was all set up and it was going really well. And then I was just having these classes, like coaching classes on a weekly basis. And again, I think I'm seeing a pattern here. I was like, this is going really well, but is this something I'm enjoying? Or is it just to make money? And I think for people that are trying new things out, you have to check in and see if this is really something you're enjoying. Because, before I began, it sounded like a good idea. But like after a year, I was like, if I were to pick UX versus doing this full time, and like pretend they make just same amount of money, like what's more fulfilling, what feels more right to me? And I wasn't enjoying it. Like I wasn't enjoying being the solopreneur. I enjoyed UX, I enjoyed leading a team. And it was like, it felt like a side thing to me that was becoming a distraction, honestly. So I again gave it up.
A couple of things are standing out for me. One is a person can have multiple things they're really
Yes.
good at, right?
Yeah.
And the second one is, you've kind of experimented.
Yeah.
That's taught you about what you like or not like. And that's important to know as well.
Yeah.
It's almost as important as knowing what you want to do is what you don't want to do and having that clarity. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say like, I don't see these ventures, like these explorations as a failure. Like you said, it was a learning experience. And I tell my designers now, like what has made me a better designer is actually the sales course I took to sell those courses. And so like all of these things are still influencing me. Maybe not in the way that I thought they would, but I still learned a lot throughout the whole process. And now I've become even more sure of what I do like about photography and the direction that I want to take it. And it's not services, it's not selling courses. And like it's really finally landing that I just really want to do it for art.
Yeah.
Like stop selling stuff.
Yeah. The mindset shift that you're describing, I don't remember if we spoke about this in our previous conversation. It almost feels like sometimes for our passions, our job is kind of like an angel investor, right? Because all of this gear is not cheap.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I'm seeing it now, is that luckily I enjoy my job. So maybe that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Because there is obviously a lot of creativity in UX and UX design. So I feel lucky in that way. But I see, obviously working at YouTube, Google, I make decent money. And I see that as a way for me to unlock, how to get gear, like traveling gear. All of that requires money. And that's what my job is. My job funds this artistic, I guess, exploration that I'm doing with photography. And that's like a lot of photographers have done that in the past.
Mm.
They had to take on these side jobs in order to fund their art. And that's kind of how I'm seeing my job. It funds my art.
Yeah. So working a full-time job at Google on YouTube is definitely not easy. So I want to probe a little bit into your energy, right? So it's like
Yeah.
5 p.m., 6 p.m. You've been in like meetings all day. Your brain is fried, but you still want to create. In fact, I think you actually didn't you do a challenge where you were like, hey, 366 days, I'm going to like
Yeah.
create every day.
Yes.
How did you even like balance that? Was it just like pushing yourself through?
It was. So I am pretty good when I set myself to be disciplined about something, I'll do it. And this was a few years ago where I was like, I'm making a video a day for the whole year. And it happened to be one of those days where it's 366 days. And the way I motivate myself is I invite other people to join the challenge with me. And a few other people did join, which makes it much more fun and it keeps you motivated. But how did I find the time? I don't know. I think what it is if you're really into something, if you're really passionate about something and you enjoy it, it's easy to do. I don't know how else to say it. Like for example, you've worked all day, but you can still watch TV.
Yeah.
After do you know what I mean? Like you have the energy to watch TV, and to me, it's just as fun. Like going out to take photos to me is the one way I can relax and it's I enjoy myself. Creating a video to me it doesn't feel like work. It's kind of like my creative outlet, especially editing. Like I can sit all day and like it's edit. To me, it's creative. So I would say is if you enjoy it enough, you'll find time for it. And if it's important to you, you'll find time for it.
Are there like any specific routines you adopted?
I think it's not so much routines, setups maybe is one way. So my tripod's here, like this whole studio is all set up already to make a YouTube video. So it's less effort, like there's less friction to get started because I've made it so that it's easy to just like turn on the camera and go. And then also kind of carving out days, like, Sundays are the days I record. That's just what it is. And then so I guess kind of having a schedule of knowing, and also for family, right, to expect, mom records on Sundays, and then like she edits like, in the evenings, like after 8 p.m. kind of thing. So I think it's schedules, having a good setup so there's less friction to actually do your thing. And then for people around you to also support you so that like they're not asking you for homework or things like that when they know like this is your time. Yeah.
All right, let's actually shift because you mentioned AI and obviously in YouTube, you're building all of this. This is like one of the most intense AI waves you've seen, right?
Yeah.
Does AI excite you as a creator?
100%. Yes. Yes. In fact, Adobe Firefly just recently came out with this new tool where it can take all your videos, including your B-roll and whatnot, and it can create a rough draft for you.
Hmm.
And then you can just prompt it to, I don't know, I haven't tried it, but like when I saw a TechCrunch article come out saying that, and I was like, this is crazy. This is amazing. Even now, like the tools that are out there has made my life so much easier, and being a creator is so much easier because there's just like so many tools out there right now that will, like, before it would have taken me 5 hours to edit a video. Now it's probably like down to 2.
What are some, so if you can share, like maybe your workflow for, let's say you're producing a video, right? What is the workflow? Where are some places that AI has really helped you?
Yeah, a huge one is have some kind of transcript based editing tool. So right now there's CapCut. I used to use Descript, but now I use CapCut, which does a decent job at it, where instead of like watching the video and making your edits, this is just to explain what transcript based editing is. It takes the transcript and then you can just edit as if you were editing a Word document, and you just kind of like delete words and it's actually, deleting the video for you. And then for other things like just like generating ideas, obviously there's Gemini or ChatGPT for that could help you. And then I use other tools like vidIQ that helps analyze your thumbnails. Like there's so many tools out there, or like Opus Clip that turns your long form videos into short form. Yeah, it's really exciting to see like how AI has made it so much easier to create good content.
Mm.
Not just helps you edit, but also helps you come up with good content.
It almost feels like there's never been a better time to become a creator than now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. And like, I'm pretty sure soon, like you'll be able to just generate like footage from your existing footage.
Mm.
The quality is not quite there yet. It will be soon where like, do I even have to go out and film anymore? Or like talking heads like these, just give it your like what you look like and your voice. Like, I think there's already an app that does that where you
Mm.
just give it your script and it'll sound like you, look like you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of my fellow PM friends on the team, he filmed a demo. It was his voice, but the whole demo was filmed with because it
Yeah.
was somebody else talking, right? So, yeah, even at work, I love Google Vids for editing.
Google Vids. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Like some of the features there are incredible. But yeah, it's just made work so much easier of photography, right? Do you feel like this is something that might take away your creative freedom? Do you worry about that at all?
Take away your creativity? Maybe a little bit. I think there's still creativity and you still have to have a vision, and that takes creativity. And I don't think AI will have that vision for you. Like it won't know like how you want your image to look. It won't know how your video should be. Like there's always going to be that human touch and creativity needed, I think. So no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless you're just like fully like prompting and then you're not making edits to any of the outputs that have been generated. But I feel like most creative people usually want to tweak things, and then that's where your creativity is. It's like you're kind of tweaking the output, you're directing the output, you're tweaking the output, so there's still creativity and human touch in it.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about the community aspect of all of this, right? You were sharing how this kind of helped you build your own community. That word came up again when you were like, hey, there's this photo, is that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. How has that changed life, the quality of life even for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've found friends through photography. I think so. I'm actually an introvert, and I'm not someone
Gasp.
that just, huh? Are you too?
No, I was like, gasp.
Are you serious? You don't think so?
Okay.
No, okay. I am an introvert, and it's hard for me to meet people. However, I can geek out over photography. Like, I will talk to anyone about photography because it's easy. Like, there's a connection already, about things. And so I feel like that's one way I connect with people is, just through talking about this common interest. And I think that's what, for me anyway, keeps me excited about it, is just kind of like sharing ideas, like sharing the like new places to go, sharing your photos and getting excited about someone else's art, sharing your art and then having other people appreciate it. Like I think for art to exist, there has to be an audience and there has to be like a community around it. Like otherwise you're just kind of doing it in a vacuum. And for me, that's not necessarily how I see myself with the art that I create. Like I feel like in order for me to continue, I need to have that community.
Yeah, and you're also learning from each other's work. That's a
Yeah.
huge part of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, I went to a photography meetup maybe like a few weeks ago, and it was just interesting to see what people were taking photos of. And we're just kind of saying, "Oh, that's a good shot." Like, and then you're just kind of like complaining about the light. And it was just like, I don't know how to describe it. It sounds nerdy, but like you're just learning from each other. And there's some validation of like, oh, I'm not crazy as well.
Mm.
Like, we're all thinking the same, or like you're learning new things. Yeah. And I think it applies to anything too, right? Like, I'm sure like UX design community is a big thing, like see other people's work. I'm sure in the engineering and PM world as well, right? Yeah.
So what is the long-term game for you with this?
With photography?
Yeah.
Okay, so the plan is, and it's funny, like this is sort of a joke plan, but not a joke plan. I tell people at work all the time, being at YouTube, of course, like once I hit 100K subs, I am quitting and I'm going to become a creator full time. I am half joking because the plan is I do want to pursue photography uh, as art, but not by selling services, not by teaching it, but kind of like someone having their work in a museum. That's the goal. Or having your own gallery where people can go in and you can show your work. If I were to aspire to be like somebody kind of like Peter Lick, I don't know if you know him. Like he's got these galleries in Vegas and like, his artwork. I think one of his photos was the most expensive, the highest grossing photo. I think it was like 5 million for a shot for one photo. It would be amazing for one of my photos to be sold at 5 million. I don't have that high of a goal. I'd be happy if a photo sold for $1,000 right now, honestly. But that's kind of the goal is I want someone to see my work, be inspired by it, want to have that piece of art in their home. So that's kind of the plan. And to support it, obviously, I need some angel investor. So if it's not my current job right now, I was talking to a coach on how could I support, like, how can I make this a reality? And so we had a few things that I could do. Like part of it is to continue teaching some workshops in there, which I actually do enjoy teaching in person. So there is a plan
Mhm.
to
What
pursue.
did so it feels like you're approaching it, more like not like a leap, but more like a bridge. What are some things that the business coach that you worked with told you that kind of unlocked, whether like any like mindset shifts or things that you were like, it's clicking now, what I need to do?
I think she was probably the one that said that it doesn't have to be a leap. Because I think for a lot of us that have this side passion, we think it has to be either or. And I think she was the one that was like, they can coexist and you can do a slow ramp to this other thing. But there's no, like for me, I don't have a pressing timeline. There's no rush, I guess is kind of how she made me feel is there's no rush to get there. And so if I'm currently enjoying my current job right now and I'm enjoying photography, they can coexist. It's actually working out really well. Like I feel fulfilled creatively. I feel fulfilled professionally. I can support my family financially. It's a really nice balance right now.
So for anyone listening here, maybe they have a passion that, they dabble with from time to time. It's like, what are some things you would tell them to kind of get started on?
Well, I think you need to get it straight in your head. What do you really want to do with this thing that you're passionate about? So photography is kind of unique because, there's different types of photography. So if whatever it is you're pursuing, will you enjoy it if you had to be paid to do it? And if there's pressure for you to do it, or do you want to just do it as art, as part of leisure time? Do you want it to be something bigger? I think kind of understanding what your goal is with it is helpful, and then you maybe not have you wouldn't have to do all the things that I had to in order to understand what I actually really wanted to do with photography. And I would say like don't be afraid to try it.
Mm.
Honestly, like is there some way we could do it part-time? Like if you're genuinely afraid of making the leap, right? Because that's a huge leap, like especially financially. Can you do it part-time? And I would say most people can. Most people can try it. And just yeah, I don't know what it is like if like yeah, I do
Yeah.
kind of like what you're doing now, like do your
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah.
part-time.
So a number of people I've actually met. They're like, hey, I want to start my own YouTube channel, but YouTube is too saturated. You work in YouTube day in and day out. So is that a question you get once in a while? Like what do you respond back to them with?
Well, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, it is easier than ever to
Mm.
be a creator now. It's free. Okay, guys, it's free.
Uh-huh.
It's low stakes. There's so many tools you can use now to make creation easier, and it is not too saturated. So even photography, like like why do you want to watch me when there's like bigger experts than me who've been doing photography professionally, but yet I still get views. And I would say it's all about you and who you are, your personality, your perspective on what it is. There's value in that. So I'm not biased at all because I work at YouTube, but I'd say it's totally still worth it. And
Mm.
now we have shorts, YouTube shorts. I would say, it's way easier to create those than it is to create the longer videos. So that's a really good way to start.
I think Many of us are trained to think, when we say like, tell me about yourself, you're just trained to like, this is what I do, this is my job. But many people have these identities and it's okay
Yeah.
to pursue them.
Yeah, I think even more so now, it's a lot more acceptable. I think the other word is you're like this multi-hyphen person.
Uh-huh.
Back when I was working at Salesforce with you, I was afraid to tell people that I had this side thing going because, like you said, I felt like it had to be. I'm UX designer, and that's all I do. But I feel like nowadays it's actually a better thing if there's more to you than what you're doing. And in fact, that's how I ended up landing my job at Meta and before YouTube, and then at YouTube, is because I was a creator. And I think having that specialty or expertise in some kind of domain will work to your advantage.
Yeah, totally. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cielo. This was a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you being on the second act.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Such an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.